So we're continuing our sermon series. Welcoming all, growing together, making a difference. So I told you I was going to ask you to repeat it a lot, so let's say it together. Welcoming all, growing together, making a difference. It's who we want to be. Okay, so last week there was a statement that we used at the beginning. I don't use it for this whole sermon series because it applies to what's going on right now. The greatest difference between a declining and thriving congregation is their willingness to learn. This is so true, and not just in church life, but in every aspect of your life. When we stop learning, we stop whatever it is we're trying to do. So we always want to be on the learning edge of everything. Our mission, quite simply, is to make disciples who make disciples. That is why the church exists. The church exists to make disciples who make disciples. That's period, exclamation point, whatever you want to do. That's who we are. And if we're not doing that, we're failing our mission. And our vision and how we'll do that is to be welcoming to all, growing together, and making a difference. Last week we talked about welcoming all. And we said about that welcoming all means we see people as Jesus sees them, and we see Jesus in the people. I don't know about you, but for me, to see people as Jesus sees them is a little easier than remembering that I have to see Jesus in every person. And therein lies the challenge of being welcoming to all for us. So this week we're going to take a look at growing together. So I want to start out with this idea of faith. So I want to share with you a few things that faith is not. Faith is not a possession. It's not something you own. It's not something that you get to hold to yourself. It's not like your car and your house. It is not a possession. Faith is not static. Faith is always on the move. Faith is always on the go. It's not fixed. Faith is not unchanging. And we struggle with this one. I'll explain to you why in a minute. Faith is not unchanging. Faith is something we grow into. Another way to say this, faith is something we mature into. And that's why faith is not unchanging. Because we are always maturing into our faith. We're always growing into our faith. Faith is something we strive towards. That's our goal. We want to be more faithful. We want to grow in our faith. And so it's something that we're actively pursuing is our faith. The goal of our faith is to become more Christ-like. To become more Christ-like. Paul wrote in Philippians these words. He said, I'm not saying that I have this all together, that I have it made. And I'll stop right there. St. Paul is telling us right up front, he's being very clear about it, I don't have this all figured out. So I don't know about you, but it gives me a lot of freedom in my faith to realize that if Paul didn't have it figured out, surely there's no way that I have it figured out yet. I'm not saying that I have this all together, that I have it made, but I am well on my way, reaching out for Christ, who has so wondrously reached out for me. I've got my eye on the goal where God is beckoning us onward to Jesus. All very clear. It's a journey. It's a way of life. It's the direction we're going. That all through life we're trying to figure it out, trying to figure this thing out that we call faith. Faith is dynamic. Faith is always moving. Faith is always growing. Faith is always changing. Faith is always maturing. Folks, there is no retirement from your faith journey. It is a lifelong journey for every single one of us. There's no quitting or taking time outs. We're always on the move. We're always maturing. We're always growing in our faith. So how do we get faith? Reading God's Word. Believing? Pray. Sharing. Yes, sharing. Any other ideas? What's that? Attending church.
Going through trials.
Going through trials. So, do we all have an idea what it is, or are we just all like, I'm not sure I know? And you know, it's okay if that's the answer. It actually is really okay. Because when we start struggling with questions like this, we take them for granted most of the time. But it's actually a lot more complicated than what it seems like on the surface. So it's okay if I ask a question like that and you're saying, well, I'm not really sure. One of the ways that we become a faith is first we have to decide, we have to make a decision. Whom are we trying to have faith in? So in our context, that's easy, right? We're trying to have faith in Jesus Christ. So it's easy for us to answer that kind of question. So to have faith in Jesus Christ, we have to learn how to be what? A disciple. Our experiences, our growth, all is rolled up into what it means to be a disciple. So the next hard question is, what is a disciple? Follower? Teacher? The definition of disciple is a follower of a leader or teacher. You can put both up there, leader or teacher. But watch this. The early church, first century church, would have understood disciple a little bit different than just being a follower. They would have understood it as actively imitating the leader. A disciple actively imitates the leader. And who's our leader? Jesus Christ. And so we should understand being a disciple as actively, that's the key word, it's not passive, it's actively imitating Jesus Christ. That's what it means to be a disciple. Let me share a story with you about two different individuals that I have known in my life. Y'all have to forgive the Sprite, there's no water. Okay. There was a woman named Mary that attended a church I was involved with at one point in time. Mary was in worship every single Sunday, no matter what her health condition was. Mary loved Jesus. Mary gave a tithe every Sunday, whether she could afford it or not. Even if it meant that she might not be able to eat or pay for her medicines that week, she tithed first. Mary's passion was feeding. And so every time this church had any kind of ministry, whether it was at a food pantry or handing out sandwiches on the side of the road, wherever it was, she was always there. Her passion was feeding people. She wanted to make sure everybody got a good meal. In this same church, there was a woman named Kathy. Kathy attended church almost every Sunday. Kathy didn't really have a passion, so she wasn't really involved in anything outside of a Sunday morning. And when she gave whatever was in her pocket that morning. Who was the disciple? Mary or Kathy? Somewhere in between. The reality is we don't know the heart of Mary or Kathy, so ultimately we can't know. But just based on those bare facts, Mary's the disciple. Kathy is not. Kathy's not engaged in the church in anything other than Sunday mornings. And that's it. There is a very fine line between being a disciple and not being a disciple. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means to be a disciple. But there's a very fine line between the two. Just like there is a very fine line between being religious and being a Christian. There's a difference. There's a big difference. 50% of Americans claim to be born again. Now, don't get hung up on the phrase born again. This is a study, and it's just the language they're using. We could easily translate that to be Christian. 50% of Americans claim to be Christians. Okay. I wish that number was higher, but that's the reality of this particular study a few years back. And, you know, I struggle with that number, but it's the next number that scares me. Not so much this number. Only 13% reflect behaviors and attitudes that are different from the world around them. Only 13% of Americans actually have attitudes and behaviors that separate them from the rest of the world. We can talk about them in the sense of the fruit of the Spirit. Okay? 13% of Americans actually exemplify what it looks like to live a life filled with the fruit of the Spirit. Love, gentleness, kindness, and patience. Only 13%. I don't know about you, but that really gives me pause in my heart. It hurts to think that that is the way we Christians are perceived in the world. We're not perceived as being different. We're not perceived as being set apart. And that is what it means to be a follower of Jesus, is to be perceived different, to be set apart, to invite others on that journey. That number should be a lot higher. It should be at 50% if we're truly going to say we're Christians. So where are we? Well, for a long time in the church, and I say the church, capital C church, but this applies to us, we have the understanding or belief that education will solve everything. Okay? And the reality is, no, it will not. Let me give you an example. Father has a teenage daughter. And he tells the teenage daughter that she needs to go clean her room. Now, the teenage daughter is going to use the model she learned in church to clean her room. So she goes to her room. She disappears for about 2 hours. She comes back to the father and she says, "Dad, I thought about what you've said. I thought about the words that you've used. I processed them in my head. And now I'm gathering a group of my friends so that we can have a small group meeting about what it means for me to clean my room. And once we do that, then we're going to even take that to the next step, and we're going to invite some more friends in to make sure we've got the right perspective on what it means to clean my room. Are you good with this?" "No," the father says. But you see, we in church are a lot like that sometimes. We want to educate us. We want to know everything there is to know about Jesus and the Bible, but we miss the application of it. And what's next? Education is not the only thing. It's part of it. We've got to learn together. But it's not all of it. It's more than that. Discipleship is not just about learning. Discipleship is about behavior. Discipleship is about transformation. When we become disciples, we're transformed. We are not the same people we were before we start that journey. Disciples experience a changed future. Your whole outlook changes when you become a disciple of Jesus Christ. It can't help but change when you become a disciple of Jesus Christ, because you see the potential, because you begin to see Jesus in all the places that you find yourself. Disciples experience a changed lifestyle. The fruit of the Spirit becomes evident in us. We're a different person. Excuse me. Disciples experience a changed worldview. We do not see the world the same anymore, because we see it through the lens of Jesus. We see it with His eyes, with His love, with His grace, with His forgiveness. It's changed. It's this idea of members versus disciples. In the church, for so long, we have been focused on getting people to join the church because there's more things that they can do to help us. We don't have enough people to work in the kitchen for the fellowship meal. We don't have enough people to teach. No, that's not why we want more people in the church. That's a membership attitude. We are disciples. We want more people in the church so more people can get to know Jesus Christ. Period. That we can make disciples that make disciples. That people's lives can truly be changed. That's why we want people in the church. Not so that there's more people to do things. So what is a disciple? I'm going to give you a simple definition that we're going to use over the next year or so and kind of explore it a little bit more as time goes on. Just like welcoming law, this statement is going to be something we're going to unpack over time. But a simple definition for us to work with. A follower of Jesus who is committed to. That word committed is really important. A follower of Jesus who is committed to being a part of the body of Christ. Being connected to the body of Christ. And this is a broad statement. That doesn't just necessarily mean Sunday morning. There are other ways to connect to the body of Christ. We have youth in our youth group that are not members of this church, but they're connected to the body of Christ. It means to be committed to becoming more like Jesus. This is the learning part. We are committed to learn what it looks like to become Jesus. It means we read Scripture, we study Scripture, and we grow in our faith. And it means committed to joining Jesus in ministry. That we'll actually serve one another in the world around us. And folks, you've got to have all three of these to be a disciple of Jesus. If you just have one, you're not a disciple. You just have two. You're not a disciple. You've got to have all three of these in your life. And they're broad strokes. There's a lot of room here. A follower of Jesus who is committed to being a part of the body of Christ, becoming more like Jesus, and joining Jesus in ministry. That's what it looks like to be a disciple. Jesus said in Matthew, "Come follow me, and I'll show you how to fish for people." In that statement, he sums those three actions up. Come follow me. Be a part of the body. I'll show you. Become more like, learn about Jesus and who he is. To fish for people. To join Jesus in ministry. This is how he calls us. To be a part of, to learn about and grow in and mature in and go out and serve. This is what it means to be a disciple